All right, good evening, everyone. Pet Man Matt Morrow, Sharp Football Insiders. Welcome to Football Focus Weekly. Another week of fun in store tonight. Leading off the show tonight, we're going to have Union County Football's Tim Winters, a guy who I, truly respect and has been doing a great job covering high school football in Union County for so long. After that, we're going to discuss the top teams in the Southern Carolina Conference. 8 o'clock, we'll have Parkwood head coach Terrance Gittens on the show. Excited to have him and meet him for the first time. Talk a little bit about Parkwood and, what's going on down there and how they're handling the pandemic. After that, we're going to talk a little bit about Union County versus CMS. Two distinct differences with how these counties are handling this pandemic, which is just crazy how, different it is with neighboring counties. And then at 8:30, we'll go ahead and talk to Patrick Henry, the Averett University head football coach. Very excited to talk to them. He's our college coach of the week, get his perspective on the pandemic. He's going to share some recruiting tips on how, 2021 kids that are unsigned that can get seen. Just really a lot of good talent out there still getting offers, but, not a lot of commitments, out of some of the second level, third level kids that are out there. After that, we'll sound off as we always do. And then we'll get into realignment part 2. We're going to analyze the part 2 realignment, really focus on Charlotte Metro. There's been some differences that we've noticed. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we'll finish up the show with the slime. We introduced that last week, went over pretty well. So we're going to see who the panel wants to slime this week. And then ending the show, we'll talk about Super Bowl predictions and figure out who our loser or winner of the week was from last week's divisional round of the playoffs. All right, with that being said, we have a comment already out the box. Oh, Coach Billups, if you would check your text message, you would get the link, sir. And I'll send that to you while we start the show. So here we go. Wayne King on South Tryon Street is number 1. And I'm going to tell you why. Petman's Fried Chicken Rankings. And we're going to do 4 restaurants. I see Fred is laughing in the background.
My sound off is actually about, I'm going back to the Panther fans. And you know why?
Queen of CFI, sound off.
So much disrespect with the mighty Coach Billups, and I'm here to sign off about it.
I can tell you how the Panther season gonna be.
I've got a rule in life, man. There are a couple rules I live by in life. One rule is never pass by Bojangles without stopping. A second rule of life is get play sauce, it'll save your life. Third rule of life, don't trust white girls. The number 1 most annoying group of people who don't put their buggies back in their little buggy aisles at the grocery store.
Where did I agree to get 211 text messages a day about the election? What did I agree to get calls every 7 seconds?
I'm going to sound off on myself. All my teams stink. Oh my God, we have the caption Cowboy Joe on there now. Good grief. But
Charlotte Football Insider Football Focus Weekly. All right, without further ado, we're going to bring on our first guest, Union County Football's Tim Winters. Here we go.
Hey, Matt. Great to see you.
Hey, it's good to see you too, man. You doing okay?
Hanging in there. Just waiting for football to start up. It's a whole different mindset now, looking at football in February, but looking forward to it. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it's been interesting. It's been interesting.
To say the least.
All right. Yes, sir. So, first off, let's get into this, man. Union County, neighbors, Mecklenburg County, of course, to the east. But they have handled this pandemic so much differently than Charlotte Mecklenburg schools. So, what has been the main difference in Union County's handling of this versus, pretty much Charlotte's handling of it?
Yeah, well, not to pull too many punches here, but I'd say leadership. Uh, right off the bat, Andrew Houlihan, and I think the board here in Union County, the Board of Education, they have taken a tremendous amount of time and input from the parents, and I think that they've looked at the numbers. We've been talked to about the science and following the data. And I think they have. And they have seen that obviously, when you look at all the numbers across the board since March through December, the spread amongst students in a classroom is minimal. And, the time off that they're missing if they do contract the virus is also a short period of time. And I hate when you get into this crazy thing when you start talking about this virus compared to the flu. But when you look at the numbers, the flu impacts children more than this virus has since that time. So I do think that Union County, Andrew Houlihan and the Board of Education, they have done a tremendous job in listening to parents, taking in the input, studying the data, and then putting their best foot forward in providing a flexible schedule to get these kids in the classroom as much as they can. And right now it's 2 days a week, but that's 2 days is better than no days, and certainly better, I think, for the overall mindset of a student and, of course, a student athlete in the county. And I really do feel for the parents and the students and student athletes in all throughout CMS that are enduring a period of time right now without, I think, any sound voice or reason to why these kids aren't able to go to school or participate in sports is beyond me. It's just very frustrating.
Yeah, and there's a couple things you mentioned there that really stick out to me. One is the communication aspect of it. And that's one of the things that, just talking with parents and coaches, especially, they don't feel like they're being heard consistently, from the CMS aspect of it. So I definitely commend, the leadership in Union County, for doing everything they can, to find a pathway for kids to play safely, because, we talked a little bit before the show. You mentioned, some of the club sports that are going on and they're playing. I'll tell you, we've had 2 camps since the pandemic started, and we were able to do it safely. There's been other things that have gone on and been able to be done safely without a huge outbreak or spread among kids. So, Coach Kenny McClamrock on our panel mentioned last week the spread in Michigan is less than 0.1%, from, kids to adults, in Michigan. So, I mean, like you said, the science and the data, says, there's a way to do it safely. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So let's get on to the football field, Tim. Let's talk about you a little bit. And, your background in covering Union County football is just incredible. I mean, I tell people all the time, they ask me, well, why don't you go to Weddington or Sun Valley? And I give them your information. I said, look, if it's being done right, I give the respect, and I let you be the man on it. So how did you get into covering Union County football and doing such a great job with it?
Well, it started, I know a number of people have heard the story over and over again, but it has started over 10 years ago when I was working doing software sales covering the Carolinas. And I'd be out on the road all week. I'd come home on a Friday night and I'd see maybe 15 to 30 seconds of video highlights from teams in our county. I worked in TV in New York, in sports television, so I knew the background. And And so I knew that they were limited. The local TV stations in Charlotte were limited with the amount of coverage they could provide. So I thought, it'd be great if I had some downtime where I could actually go to these stadiums and initially just shoot photography. So the first year, the first season, I just went on the sidelines and took photos. And I think I ran into you and to Dale and a number of people at the time. They all had cameras and they were all shooting. And I thought, you know what? I want to do something a little different. So I put some money into a video camera. And the next year I started exclusively shooting video and started bringing photographers on. And at that time, this is 2011, 2012, very few cameras on the sidelines other than the local TV. And then there was me. And now today, there's a ton of people on the sidelines with video cameras of all kinds, whether it's on their phone or regular video camera. But I really wanted to, promote these kids, expose these kids, and get the video of them after a game, the excitement, hearing their voice. You can read all the quotes in the newspaper, but I was more about, hearing their quotes and seeing their reaction and capturing that for video and having that stored online. That was the thrill for me. I've always been a sports fan, and to be able to deliver that aspect of the game, that was the main goal, was to really get footage of as many players and as many games in the county that at that time was underrepresented. And then, of course, with the talent that has come through this county over the last 10 years, the kids have really just propelled the county to another level and the football to another level over that 10-year time period.
Absolutely, man. I mean, we talk about all the talent in Charlotte, but I mean, you look at, Sam Howell, for example, from Sun Valley up at, North Carolina, just tearing it up and thinking, he's going to be a Heisman candidate next year. I mean, it's amazing, man. Just as one example. We'll get to that here in just a second.
Yep.
But for this upcoming season, the Southern Carolina Conference is, has most of the Union County teams in it. So, in your opinion, who are the best teams, for this upcoming season in the Southern Carolina, and who do you think that, could possibly surprise some people?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I don't think I'm going to be breaking any news here where you think, even though they've lost Will Shipley, the talent that Weddington has, it's really hard not to think that they're going to be the major presence and move that conference, through the course of the 8-week season. I don't see anybody at this point. They might have a little challenge here and there, but you're looking at a quarterback, at Dante Casiola. This kid, he just wins. I think he has one loss in over 2 years, 2.5 years of quarterbacking in big games against big teams. And the kid produces. So he's not going to have Will Shipley in the backfield, but they have some very good running backs that people will quickly catch on to. They have a good wide receiving core. They're always strong at the linebacking core. They have good, strong DBs and special teams. Weddington always produces strong special teams. So I look at Weddington to be at the top. In terms of surprise teams, Cuthbertson and everybody that the staff there and the kids, the amount of work that they've put in. Trey Kavanaugh has done a great job really steering that program in the right direction. And so, I look at Cuthbertson mounting a pretty good season, maybe in a little challenge to Weddington, but also, Monroe in their final season before the redistricting, and they'll move out. But, Johnny Sal always has the kids in place, has the athletes. Never has the depth in the roster because of the size, and hence their move down next year. But they have you have some really good receivers. Shalik Knott's one of the best receivers in the state. Jordan Black, another really effective slot receiver, and this quarterback Kamani Robinson, who that will be a name that a lot of people will start remembering as well. So I think that their offense and their line play on both sides will be much improved this year, and Monroe will be there. And then one of the other teams that I'll get into right now, because you're going to have the coach on after me, Coach Gittens at Parkwood. You are looking at, basically from what I've seen, probably the most explosive offense that Parkwood's ever had in the 10, 11 years I've covered. And they've had some good offensive players. Sam Mobley, who's on the coaching staff now, who went to the pros and was a great wide receiver at Parkwood. He's coaching there now. His younger brother, Isaiah Mobley, will be easily one of the best wide receivers in the state of North Carolina. He is one of the best right now. And he's young, going into his sophomore year. The kid catches everything. Great speed, great hands, just really soft hands. So that's one kid to watch. Tristan Stanton, another kid. And the kid throwing the ball, this will be interesting. And you could get into this with Coach Gittens because I haven't had the chance. I talked to him when he got the job. But they have a quarterback, Cam Enos, who transferred from Metrolina Christian. And he was probably going to assume the starting position this year at Metrolina. He transferred over to Parkwood, and this kid can sling it. Has a great relationship with Isaiah Mobley and the receivers. They play on the 7-on-7 team, the Carolina team. So I think that will be a team to watch. Austin Burns, here's the whole controversy. Cam Enos is the transfer quarterback. Austin Burns, who was the top tackler on the Parkwood team last year, and one of the top tacklers in Union County, he was the backup quarterback. So I think that there might be a little battle there, but, and I'm not going to hedge bets either way, but it's going to be a very interesting offensive season for the Parkwood Rebels. And I think the Rebels, I shouldn't say that. They are now, oh my gosh, they just changed their name, and they are... Do you remember, Matt? Now I just got caught up. Calling them the Parkwood Rebels. They are the Parkwood. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I just forgot the new nickname. But the Wolfpack. Yes, thank you, Coach. The Wolfpack. So that will be the team, I think, to watch as an outside offensive threat in the conference.
Uh-oh. Man, that is some in-depth knowledge right there, boy.
Well, except for the team nickname. The team nickname change. Called me up there for a second.
That's okay. We fumble on this show all the time, man. You just get right in. Man, that's good stuff, man. That is good. Actually, I know Enos and Mobley came to our second camp up at Mountain Island Charter that we had. And, they're impressive. So, I'm definitely excited to see that combination, come together this season for Parkwood.
Absolutely.
So thoughts on Porter Ridge? They play in the Southwestern Conference, but of course they're in Union County. We've always been impressed with them throughout the years.
Yeah, they Michael Hertz knows he gets the job done over there. They got a steady hand with him as the head coach, and he's produced some really good teams the last few years, and you're seeing, with Grayson McCall now producing out at Coastal Carolina. I'm really looking forward to seeing this team this year, and I was really looking forward to seeing them start the season in August because they have so much great talent there. And one of the leaders, and I know you're very familiar with, and I pointed him out at your first camp, was Steven Zayakowski, and linebacker. And when I look at him and how effective he is, a young kid with the desire and this hard work ethic that I've only seen paralleled by a few kids in this county in the time that I've been covering. This kid gets to the ball, very impressive in his freshman year in a playoff game. He was one of the leading tacklers as a freshman, and he didn't come off, and nobody would think that he was a freshman playing that game up in Greensboro 2 years ago or last year. Very, very good linebacker, Steven Zayakowski. They have a lot of good talent on Porter Ridge, so I'm really looking forward to seeing them. Also, very good special teams play. Braden McAllister, one of the top place kickers in the county, and I think you're going to look at, I think the fans obviously at Porter Ridge are very excited with the prospects of where their team can go. The only difference is now is what teams will they be playing once the season starts, because the majority of their teams, they play in CMS. So if CMS actually kicks off on time, then there's, no worries. If they don't, if there's a major delay, then Porter Ridge is in trouble trying to find games with no time really to find games.
Well said. Well said. I mean, I'll tell you, Mr. Zayakowski, man, he was our linebacker MVP. And I'll tell you, he came into the camp and nobody knew him. But he left that camp. Not nobody, but most people didn't know him. But he made a name for himself, man. I mean, what an impressive kid. And, him and his father, really, really good people. To finish it up, Tim, you mentioned some players, already when we were talking about the teams for this upcoming season. So I want to ask you, throughout the years, who are the best players that you've covered, doing Union County football?
Wow. Well, so many, and I don't want to hurt anybody for forgetting names, but obviously you got to start with Sam Howell. I was there for his first pass and covered his last pass that he threw in that 4-year time period. As dangerous a kid in the backfield as anybody I've ever seen in the county, with a tremendous arm, the smarts, the guts. This kid showed no fear, even young at 15 years old, 16 years old. Easily one of the best leaders I've seen. Obviously, then you got to go to Will Shipley. When you look at Sam, Will Shipley, these kids are, they're great, great players, but it comes because of this hard work ethic that they have. And two of the hardest working kids I've ever seen covering kids in the county. But Will Shipley, James Shipley, his brother, was a tremendous athlete at Weddington. Sam Mobley, I mentioned earlier, one of the greatest wide receivers I've seen in the county. Jeremiah Miller, who was at Coastal Carolina and then transferred over to Stephen Austin, one of the best wide receivers. Emeka Amizi at North Carolina State, another great receiver. Some great linebacking play that I've seen over the years. Eamon Murphy at Weddington, one of the hardest hitting kids, not great size, but boy, that kid could lay a lick on anybody and would get to the ball carrier. So many great athletes. Shalik Knotts at Monroe right now, but then his brother, Braxton Knotts, who did not have the size of his bigger brother. Braxton was this little kid, but could fly. And he played on that undefeated Monroe team that won the state championship a few years back in 2015, one of the best teams I've ever seen. They went through that season undefeated. They were a 2A school and beat every team in the Southern Carolina Conference that year. So they were undefeated in the Southern Carolina Conference and then won their conference and then went on to the state championship undefeated. As a great team, some great athletes on that team as well.
That's a lot of talent, man. A lot of talent. My goodness. I mean, just going through my mind, the memories of, seeing those guys in person, it's incredible. Tim, I appreciate you coming on tonight, man. How can everybody follow your work?
Yep, they can follow me on the website at 2 ways, unioncountyfootball.com or ucncfootball.com. YouTube, Union County Football. You can search there. You'll find years and years of videos, interviews, and highlights. Twitter, UCNC Football. And I do have a Facebook page as well, which is Union County Football.
All right, man. And there's a lot of great stuff. I go to that YouTube page sometimes, and I just spend hours just looking at old videos, just reminiscing, man. It's
like, where did the time go? I just thought of one other name, Max. I don't want to sell him short because he's been in the news too recently. Austin Kendall, who had the great final game at West Virginia, tremendous quarterback in the county, and played in one of the greatest games in the county. That the conference, the semifinal game to go to the state championship game. It was the regional final. Weddington and Cuthbertson came down to a final second touchdown by oh boy, the kid was the quarterback at Lenore Rhine, and I just forgot his name right now. But tremendous game, tremendous electric atmosphere. So been very fortunate in the 10 years, 11 years I've covered football in the county to see some great games and some great athletes.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Once again, man, appreciate the time tonight. And, we'll catch up again, hopefully on the sideline real soon.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. All right. So that was Tim Winters from Union County Football sharing a lot of great inside information on Union County and what they've got going on for this upcoming season. Overall, we talked about in the beginning of that interview, if you missed it, how they're handling the pandemic in Union County versus what they're doing in Charlotte. A lot of great insight in that. If you missed it, please scroll back and take a listen to that. Some good stuff right there. We've got a couple minutes before we bring on our next interview, which is Coach Gittens from Parkwood High School. I'm going to bring the panel on real quick, and we're going to talk real quickly about some of the best teams, in our opinion, in the Southern Carolina Conference. How we doing, guys?
Not bad.
Oh, I'm upset, but I'll talk about it later.
I'm sorry you're upset,
Salty.
illustrious Phillips.
I'm upset that you didn't give me that link, but it's all right. Oh, I ain't salty about it. Hey, you know what? I got something for you Ram haters later. I'm not salty about my season.
Yeah. All right, so we'll take our 1 minute to address this. Okay, so Kenny's here. Brandon's here. Obviously, they got the link in a same group text that you're in. So I think we have a failure on your part to participate in the way that we do every week.
For what it's worth, Pep, I agree with not sending Coach Phillips the link.
I would. That's why you don't lose all y'all veteran support. You see, I got my business suit on today. Yeah. Stand the issue. Yeah. But don't worry about it. I'm accustomed to it. I'm feeling good, feeling blessed. Got my water, my skin's glowing, so you get hate. So hey, I love it.
All right. Good to hear from you, man. See you later. All right. So go ahead and bring on our next guest. It'll be our first time, my first time speaking with him, but I've heard some great things about him leading the Parkwood Wolfpack program. Name change. They're no longer the Rebels. And that is going to be Coach Terrance Gittens, and we're going to bring him on with us right now.
What's happening, y'all?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How's everything? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's our pleasure, man. It's our pleasure, man. So first of all, just starting this off, man, I want to talk, or just ask you, well, how did you become, or what was your path to becoming the new Parkwood head football coach?
It was a long path. I'm originally from New York. I moved down to North Carolina in 2008 and initially coached at Pinecrest High School with Coach Mesker, and then moved over to Union Pines with Coach Ryan Riggins. And then came over to Coxmont High School in 2011, and the head coach at the time was Greg Neuendorf. And then Craig Stewart was our head coach, and had a great time over there, great experience, and just looking for an opportunity. And a really good friend of mine is Brad Henson, who's the AD at Mount Pleasant, who's a Union County Monroe graduate. Him and I are really good friends, and the position at Parkwood came up, and we talked about it, and he gave me some insight about the community and the area, and reached out to Coach Rashad, the AD at Parkwood, and the rest is history.
Very good, man. So we had Tim Winters from Union County Football on just before you came on.
Yes, sir.
And he was exuberant about the offensive firepower that you guys have down there at Parkwood. So that leads me to ask you, what is your offensive philosophy, and are we going to see a lot of fireworks from you guys this upcoming season?
I definitely believe so. We are in the midst of putting everything together right now. I have a really good offensive coordinator, Coach Tamalong, really young, exciting guy, enthusiastic. He keeps those guys on their toes. Our offensive line coach is an awesome guy, Coach Limpton. So, the players that we got, we're a really young football program. We only have 12 seniors. The rest are underclassmen. So, last year when I was at Coxman, we did play Parkwood. So they lost a lot of players. They had 26, 27 seniors last year. So we're looking for some great things from our young players. I know Tim mentioned our quarterback situation, which I think is going to be a very competitive situation with Cam Enos and Austin Burns, and even Austin Burns' younger brother, Todd, who's an up-and-coming quarterback. Isaiah Mobley, we have Ethan Cavoyce. I mean, we've got some guys who are going to put some people in their places out on that football field, and I'm excited for them. I really am.
All right, man, that's awesome. I'm an offensive guy, in my former life as a coach. So, I love hearing about and seeing some good offensive football. So, I'm excited to see. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, sir.
We're
all right.
We're going to be good. We're going to be all right. Run some tight end stuff. Got Cody Hardy, who's going to be playing some tight end and is also playing some defensive line for us. So again, like as I said, I'm excited, and defensively, we got some young talent on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to be explosive. I'm a defensive guy, so that's where I'm honing my craft in on, and make sure we're ready to play some football.
All right, man. Good stuff. Excellent. So of course, this is a great time to be a first-year head coach with a once in 100-year pandemic bearing down on us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How have you been able or trying to handle this pandemic with your installs and practice and all that stuff going on with this being your first year?
Very carefully, with the guidelines that we have to follow, that the high school association has put out, and just to keep everyone safe, social distancing. We've had a lot of Zoom meetings, coaching wise and player wise. We've brought them in quite a bit. I mean, I have to say thank you to Union County for giving us the opportunity to even have workouts in this pandemic, where other different places had shut down, and we had a great opportunity to bring our kids in and get them in the weight room and do a lot of things that a lot of people haven't had a chance to. So we've excelled at that. And right now we're just kind of just taking it one day at a time and just getting our feet wet and just making sure that we do the right thing by the kids, keeping them safe, keeping our coaches safe, our community safe. And it's been a trying experience, but so far so good. And everybody's just working together to be great.
That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. The main thing about it is everyone's dealing with the same things. Everyone has to follow the same standards, at least in Union County.
Yeah.
Not here in CMS. It's a little different, but
yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely right.
So, Coach, talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on competing in this Southern Carolina Conference, which I think is one of the best conferences in the state. I mean, it's a great way to start off your coaching career, right?
It's a tough one. I call it the SEC of high school football in 3A. The different schools that we have to compete against, a lot of coaching experience, a lot of athletes. But we're going to be prepared on every Friday night. We're going to be ready. It's going to be a challenge, but we're going to be up to the task, and we're going to play hard and play fast and do the things that we need to do to be successful. It's tough when you got to go against the Weddingtons and Marvin Ridge and Charlotte Catholics and, the Cuppersons. And I mean, every school is going to be a challenge no matter what, because on any given Friday, anything can happen. So again, we're excited and, for the competition, and we're going to do everything that we can to be successful and have our community proud of the Parkwood Wolfpack. And on Friday nights, and hopefully, we'll get an opportunity to get on that football field come February and show the things that we've done since July and since we've been working, and just make sure we're competitive.
Very good, Coach. Very good. My last question for you, the name change from Rebels to Wolfpack, how did that happen? Was there a vote? I mean, was there community input? What was the process involved in doing that?
I laugh about that a little bit because it's above my pay grade, to be honest with you. When it all happened, I was just coming in as the head coach, and our principal, Miss Allie, who's an incredible administrator. So we are. When it all happened, it was new. It was new to me, and it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. But the administrators at Parkwood just took it by the horns and was able to get it out to the community and the student body. And before you know it, man, it was put to a vote, and Wolfpacks end up being the name, and we are moving forward. And right now we're in the process of looking at logos and different things to that nature. So the process has moved on. And again, I'm not too familiar with all the other things that occurred with that, but I'm just happy to be there and just happy that we're able to move on and just get things done correctly.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. It's exciting to, get into your first year of program rebranding, new uniforms and logos and all that stuff. I think you carry yourself well, promoting your kids and your coaches. I think you're gonna do a really good job, man. Absolutely.
I'm excited. It's to have an opportunity to do certain things, is a blessing. And when you look at the overall process on wanting to do something and getting to that certain point, you count your blessings, you count everybody that's helped you along the way. Coach McClanrock has been an awesome guy. I've known him for a long time. So, I'm just happy for, everybody that I've coached with and I've been involved with to get me to this point. And, right now it's just to buckle up my belt and put my boots on the ground and get my coaching staff and get the players and everybody involved so that we can be successful. And at the end of the day, however it ends up being, I'm just make sure that we're a proud Parkwood family and we just get it done.
Excellent, man. Excellent. One thing I always ask new coaches, do you need any coaching help? Do you need things from the community? Do you have everything you need right now?
You never have everything you need.
That's true. That's true.
I was fortunate enough coming from Cox Mill. I gained a tremendous amount of relationships. A gentleman by the name of Kenneth Padgett and Ron Hall helped me out a lot once I got over to Parkwood. But again, right now, just learning the community is really huge to me. I know there are a great group of people out there. And what we're trying to do is, like you said earlier, with the rebrand, is try to get everybody to come back out. What we've established is I've established an alumni club to bring back all of those old players so they can be involved in the program. I've even talked to Coach Coble. I've brought him in and talked to him about some football stuff. He's going to help me do some stuff. So, when you go to a place like Parkwood that has history, I feel like you need to bring a lot of that back, because what happens is people start to get distance. And the one thing that I noticed is that a lot of kids in the school have grandparents who went to Parkwood, or their parents went to Parkwood. So that's too much history not to have back in that building or on that campus. So we are really trying to bring back a lot of those individuals to really help us, bring us to the forefront. Where Parkwood is located, there's a lot of history. So if we can make that happen, I definitely feel like, we'll be major contenders in this football community. And plus, we're going to a new conference next year. So, everything, like I said, God has a plan. And in that plan, we're going to do everything we can to keep it right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You getting me fired up, and I ain't never been to Parkwood. All right, so we're gonna bring on your buddy Coach McClamrock you mentioned, and he's got a question for you, Coach.
What's up, sir?
What's up, Coach? How you, brother?
How you doing, buddy?
Man, you already know how proud I am of you and how excited I am. Pep, if you only knew how many conversations Coach Gittens and I have had over the last 6 years about his desire to be a head coach and his desire to lead. He had a plan going in. He's executing the plan. I was going to ask you about the rebranding that you're doing, but you already started hitting it up. So I'm going to change my thought process just a little bit, Coach. Now, you talked about you have a really unique background. You haven't always been in teaching. You haven't been coaching for really a long time, but you've worked with some incredible coaches, Coach Stewart, Coach Neuendorf, who was the man. You talked about Coach Mesker. Coach, what's one thing that you took from one of those head coaches that you've already implemented into Parkwood's program?
Togetherness, family, got to buy in, all in. There's no I in team. My coaches, I must say, they have bought into everything that we've talked about doing. Last year they were, had a lot of players going both ways. My philosophy is if you got 40 to 50 guys on your roster, you've got to find 22 on one side or 22 on the other. So, and they've bought into that, and leadership is huge. You got to talk about things and be about it, and learning. That to me was probably the biggest thing I've learned from every coach that I've been around. Even from you. We've talked quite a bit about a lot of things, and that whole process of just wanting to have people understand your vision, what you want to do, how you want to make things happen. And, as the new guy on the block, as they say, people kind of go, oh, okay. And then you got to show them. And fortunately enough, I was able to get that done. And right now we are guns a-blazing, getting ready to rock and roll.
Well, Coach, there's no doubt in my mind that everything's going to begin at the top with you. It's all going to be top down, and you're a genuine person. People are going to see who you are. They're going to see you putting forth the work. They're going to see you doing things before anyone else does, being there first, being the last one to leave. Coach, I told you earlier this week or last week, I'm pulling for you, and I can't wait to see what you guys do.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
It's good stuff, Kenny. Appreciate that, man. All right, Coach, this has been awesome, man. I'm gonna adjust my schedule to make sure we get out to Parkwood and what's that town called? Rough Edge?
Rough Edge. Absolutely. And I better make sure I say it right. Coach Ella get mad at me.
Well, when we come out there, we come out there. Don't be too rough on us now.
Nah. Come on, we'll welcome everybody. It's a brand new situation going out there. We're excited about it. And like I said, we're excited. So we just want to make sure that we are able to do the things that we need to do.
Awesome, man. Well, Coach, if you need anything from us, please reach out, and we'll be glad to help in any way we can, man.
I absolutely appreciate it. God bless. Have a great night.
All right, you too, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so that was excuse me. Sorry about that, Coach. That was Parkwood Wolfpack head coach Terrance Gittens. A lot of excitement going on down there in Parkwood. Our first guest, Tim Winters, spoke very, very highly of what they got going on down there. And I think Coach Gittens is definitely on the right track with putting that program in a really, really strong place. Now, our next guest is ready, our college coach of the week. I'm very excited to bring him on. He is the head coach at Averett University, which is in Danville, Virginia. He does a lot of recruiting down in here in the Charlotte area. You may have seen us retweet some players that they have offered. And we're very excited to speak with him tonight, and that is head coach of Averett University, Patrick Henry. And we're going to bring him on right now. Hey, Coach.
How are you?
I'm good, sir. How you doing tonight?
Wonderful. Just wonderful. I didn't know you were going to bring Coach Gitt on before me. Now, that's a big act to follow, man. Coach McClamrock, you did that to me. If Coach McClamrock's still on here, you did. Hey, I mean, that's been one of my guys since I got to Averett. Coach Gitt and Coach McClamrock been really good to me. And when Coach McClamrock reached out, I was fired up. So.
Yeah, we like Kenny a little bit around here, so he does a great job.
Hey,
Well,
last time I actually saw him in person, he had a beard about down to here. And he went
okay.
he went to the other extreme now. Clean cut. So
Well, we'll give him a chance to respond to that here in just a second. I'd love to hear that story myself. But first off, let's get to know you a little bit, Coach. What was the path that you went on to become a college head football coach, which is something a lot of our local coaches aspire to be?
I tell every recruit that steps on campus, I was promoted to the head coach in the middle of a pandemic, but this dream started. I can tell you where I was. It was 1998. I was at Gettysburg College. Our team went to camp there. I was the youngest one to go, and when everything finished up, we were drawing straws, and I truly didn't know what that meant. And I drew the short straw, and they're like, "You won." And I'm like, "All right, I won. What'd I win?" And they're like, "You get to ride home with the head football coach." And we rode back from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to Cleveland, Ohio, where we're from. And he had a little Ford Escort, standard shift, and he was a history teacher. And we listened to the Civil War on tape. And when he dropped me off at my house, I got out and told my parents that I wanted to be a head coach. Wasn't sure at what level. And that's where the dream started, was my high school head coach. And fast forward, I went to Defiance College, a little Division III school, very similar to the place that we have here at Averett. Just under 1,000 students, and had two great head coaches that I played for and helped me get in the profession. And I ended up getting a graduate assistant job at a Division II school in Pennsylvania for a guy by the name of Malin Luke, who just got in their Hall of Fame this past year. And from there, I graduated with my master's in history, as well as my undergraduate degree was in history, and moved on from there to the University of Dayton. I was there from 2007 to 2009 and worked for a guy by the name of Mike Kelly, who's now in the College Football Hall of Fame. And, he coached a guy by the name of John Gruden, and some other guys that are now having some success in the league. And, Brandon Staley was also a player that they had, who just got hired as the head coach, for the Los Angeles Chargers. And then, I go on to be a GA at Ball State and spent some time there. And my first year there, Stan Parrish was the head coach, and he was Tom Brady's quarterbacks coach at the University of Michigan, and then was a quarterbacks coach in Tampa when they won the Super Bowl with John Gruden. And then in comes Coach Limbo my second year. And the NCAA, that was right in the transition where you could be 7 years removed from your undergrad. And so I knew I was done. It was the last year that I could GA. And so he brings up the majority of the Elon staff comes up. And so Coach Limbo, who's now special teams coordinator at South Carolina, and Rich Grosky, who's the OC at Elon, and Jay Bateman was the DC, and Jay's now at North Carolina. And, Jay's wife was from here in Danville, which is where our university is located. He's actually was married about 2 miles from my house. All those guys knew the staff at Averett from coming down to work their camp at Elon. And when they had a full-time job open, I was young, I was eager, I was ready, and came down here in 2012 with a plan, to spend a couple years down here and leave. And I came down here and I fell in love with the place, and I've been here ever since.
Man, that's good stuff, man. But see, I love the way you described it, because it's truly a winding road. I mean, you went so many different places, and you got so many different experiences. And, that's something that, we always talk about when we talk to coaches is you got to appreciate the grind, to get to where you want to go. It's not going to be a linear path at all. So, definitely, commend you for, putting in so many hours and effort, and just just to get, where you are right now, which, we all know is not going to be the end of the road for you. So, that's awesome stuff, man. So tell us a little bit about your program and your overall coaching philosophy for those that may not know much about Averett University.
Well, I mean, Coach McClanarock's the one who reached out to me. He knows my best friend and my mentor, Coach Adams, who took over at the school down the road. We try not to say their word. But I wouldn't be in the position I am without him. If you become a head coach, at some point, people have figured out that the game of football. But what happens is that you've got to show people that you know a little bit more about the game than just X's and O's. It's about the people. And so, Coach Adams was hired here February the 1st of 2014. And that became my best friend and my mentor. We talked every day from February the 1st of 2014 and until the day that he took over his alma mater. And I wouldn't be in the position I am today without him. He made me the assistant head coach. He made me the recruiting coordinator. He moved me to defense where I never coached. My background was always offense. Then he moved me back over to the offensive side and made me the offensive coordinator, where I was fortunate enough to have some great players, to have some success. And so, to talk about our program philosophy, what we talk to our kids about, I heard it's so funny to listen to Coach Gittens talk. And I think that's what made us so close in the recruiting process, is that whenever I would go to Cox Mill, that was my guy. That's who I was going to. That's who got me the transcripts. That's who got me in touch with everybody that I needed to talk to. And that's why we were able to get a few of their guys. And so, our program philosophy, the cornerstone of our football program is faith. And I choose that word on purpose. I was a history major. If you know anything about the ancient stonemasons, there was a foundation to every structure, but the cornerstone was what made that structure right. If the cornerstone was off, everything in the structure was off. So the cornerstone of our football program is faith. Before we do anything, we got a 6 a.m. workout tomorrow. We're gonna get on a knee and we're gonna give thanks for what we've been given. You talk about the foundation of our football program, it's simple. It's do what's right. I have the fundamental belief that before you make a decision, if your stomach gets tight, you probably shouldn't make that decision. If there's a little guy on your shoulder that says, hey, man, we shouldn't do this, you probably shouldn't do that. And then we talk to our kids about the acronym REAL. I tell our kids, be real. And that's respect, effort, attitude, and love. And it starts with respect. And Coach McClanarock would tell you, Coach Adams is my best friend and mentor. That starts with respecting women. I think that in this platform, if I don't say that first, then shame on me, because you can't go 7 days without turning on the TV and seeing somebody not doing that. And I feel like it's my duty to keep that in front of the 135 18 to 22-year-olds that I get an opportunity to mentor every day. And I think that translates into respecting your teammates. You recruit Charmac, or you go down to Union County and recruit, we're going to have somebody in our locker room from one of their rival schools. So it starts with respecting women. You have to respect your teammates. At Averett, we're a liberal arts school. So that means that you're going to take a music, art, or theater. We want you to be well-rounded. But when you're sitting in art class, newsflash, a lot of our guys aren't real fired up about Van Gogh. And then the professor changes the slide and it's Michelangelo. And then they raise their hand and say, hey, isn't that a Ninja Turtle? It's about that time when I get an email, right? But I tell our guys, that's their game day. That's their game day, And I think that in our football program, when I talk to our kids about respect, we're on a really slippery slope right now. Our country has lost track of that word respect. And we need to get back to that. Just because somebody has a different opinion than you doesn't mean it's wrong. And like I tell our guys, social media is the easy out because it's easy to sit behind a phone and say something. But when you have to look somebody in the eye, it means something more. So we talk to our kids about respect. The next is effort. Your effort must equal or exceed your expectations. I'm going to say it again. Your effort must equal or exceed your expectations. And in the classroom, there's a difference. I'm not taking shots or anything like that. I tell every recruit that steps on campus, and I tell our guys, you are guaranteed a high school education. I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. And if I don't send them to school, then I'm going to get arrested. They're guaranteed that right until they turn 18. When you step foot on a college campus, that is a privilege. That is no longer a right. And so your effort must equal or exceed your expectations. If you want an A on a paper, then you got to turn in A-level work. If you want to be on a paper, you got to turn in B-level work. Well, the way that translates to the football field, is if you look at our conference for the past 3 years, we have the best record in our conference. We don't have a conference championship to show for it. But in 2 out of the past 3 years, we've played in the game that before the ball was put on that tee, both teams knew that the winner was going to the NCAA playoffs. And so we had a 6 a.m. workout on Tuesday. And what I told our guys after the workout was, I don't have to do a whole lot of screaming. I don't have to do a whole lot of yelling. They line up behind the line. They touch the line on their sprints. Their effort is good. Okay? But what I ask them is, you got to look yourself in the mirror, guys. We are a championship contending football team. You have to be really calculated in the words you use. Contending. And that's not a shot at my football team. We have a great football team. But we're contending right now to take that next step to be the champion year in and year out. We got to go here just a little bit more. And I say, look yourself in the mirror. So was your effort today championship contending or taking the reins and being the conference champion year in and year out? And so that's the E. Respect, effort, attitude. Your attitude is truly the only thing you control when you get up every day. It's truly the only thing you can control every day when you get up. You don't control what happens to you. Life is about 90% what happens, 10% how you react. And it's easy. It's easy to explain it in football terms. All right? It's easy to tell your players you don't control the weather. You don't control the field conditions. You don't control the officials. You don't control your opponents. Those are all things that I took from Coach Limbo at Ball State. The controllables versus the uncontrollables. Controllables versus uncontrollables. The only thing you control when you get up every day is your attitude. And last but not least, when we talk about telling our kids to be real, respect, effort, attitude, and the L is love. Everybody loves everybody. I don't think you can have respect without love. I think that if you love somebody, then you're willing to tell them something they don't want to hear. And when everybody wants to use that word family, and I hear Coach Gitt talk about it, and that's what we talk to our kids about. The acronym REAL is the tool that we give our guys to make that happen. Respect, effort, attitude, and love. And that's the philosophy of our football program. The cornerstone is faith. It's what sets us right. It's our why. The foundation is do what's right. And if you do and live your life with respect, effort, attitude, and love, be real, then at the end of 4 years, I'm going to be standing at the other side of the stage and I'm going to be shaking your hand with a diploma. And that's what we talk to our kids about every day. They're going to hear it again tomorrow at 6 a.m.
I don't even know how to follow that up, man. I mean, that was some of the best philosophy breakdown in a program that I've heard in my 39 years of life. I mean, I'm not lying to you. I mean, that was awesome.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear. I don't know if something's going on with my microphone. Can y'all hear me in the background? Okay. Well, let's bring on Kenny McClamrock because he's got a lot to say to you, Coach. So let's bring him on real quick.
Pep, I told you, man, we got Coach Henry on here. Like, life start getting changed, man. I love this dude. He's one of my favorite college coaches. I first met him in 2014, and I'll tell you how special his coaching staff was. In 2014, he had about 6 coaches show up at a gym, ironically at Central Cabarrus High School, to recruit a couple of my players. Man, I've always had so much respect for did we lose him?
I'm going to try to get him back real quick, Kenny, but go ahead.
But I've always had so much respect for Coach Henry. Before him, he mentioned Coach Adams. Coach Adams had this philosophy, BAM, he called it Be a Man, and it talked about love and respect for women. And I've listened to Averett's coaches over the years sell their program to our players, trying to recruit them. And selfishly, I've always wanted my guys to go to Averett. I've never pushed them to, but in the back of my head, I'm hoping that they do. So I'm super excited that he's on the show. Looks like we got some difficulties.
Yeah, we got a few technical difficulties we're working through right now, and hopefully we'll get Coach Henry back on right now. He can't hear us, so it kind of hurts our ability to do an interview. But we're gonna bring him back on as soon as we get that worked out in the background of the studio. But Kenny, and let's bring Billups in here on this just to discuss what his philosophy was with breaking it down. And that was, like I told him, that was really impressive, man. It really was.
No, that was more than impressive. Me and Kenny I haven't been coaching as long as Kenny, but if you see, I got my business suit on. I've been around some great, outstanding leaders, and one thing you can really tell is how somebody talk about what they're selling and what they're preaching to you, and that was not written down. That was from the heart. That was from the soul. He's outstanding, and they ought to consider themselves lucky to be led by a man who actually wants to teach them life, and you get a bunch of the coaches that want to be, hey, I want you to be a great football player. I want you to be a great man, but they're not teaching these young athletes how to be like that. And just listen to how he said, I don't yell. I don't have to do all this. I have great, and you can tell how you were breaking down. I have a championship contender. We're not there. And he enforced that on them repeatedly, not putting them down, but he's letting them know, hey, y'all could get there, but it's not up to me. It's up to y'all. And that's everyday life. And I'm glad he's teaching them that lesson at this at Averett. But I tell you what, man, there's been some great speech given today on this show, and usually I ain't speechless. I could talk for days, but good gracious, boy, I was back there. I had tears in my eyes when he was talking about the real stuff, man. It touched. I'm glad we got people like Coach Henry coaching these young men, because, like he said, in the state of the country is now, you need more people who are embracing that. When he said, you got to respect women. And I said, hey, you don't get that. We don't say that. A lot of coaches don't say that. We say, hey, we got to love, we got to be that. No, we say the family that. We don't hear a lot of love. I used to tell my players when I was at Hopewell, when I was at Providence, hey, man, I love you. And, I'm going to yell at you. I'm going to hold you to this high standard. It's not because I dislike you or I want to discredit you. It's because I love you. And that's, man, Hey.
All right, well, Coach, that's some great stuff. We got Coach Henry back, so we're gonna bring.
Oh yeah, let me show. Let him have it. Let him have it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Coach. All right. So,
Coach, brother, what's up, man?
Hey, we're not allowed to hug anymore. This is crazy.
Man,
But
I was thinking, when we were talking last week, I started thinking about all the different roles that you've held since I met you in 2014. When I met you in 2014, Pep, listen to this. Coach Henry was coaching the offensive line at Averett. And then at some point, he went from the offensive line. I remember meeting him, I'm like, man, he must have been like a big dude in a previous life because he is not a big dude now. Coaching the offensive line, he was like, Coach, you got to love him and you got to teach him. That's what I do. And what he talked about. And then from there, I think you went on to coach the quarterbacks and the wide receivers for a stint. And at one point, I think you were the passing game coordinator. And then the next time I talked to you, I think it was in Greensboro. And you said, I'm coaching the defensive line now. I'm like,
correct.
Holy cow. And then the next time I saw you with Coach Adams, he said, Coach Henry is now my number 2. He's my offensive coordinator. I was like, man, that's the most given duh of all time. And then, of course, when you got the job, when Coach Adams left, man, I was so pumped up and excited because I know what you bring to your program. I know how much your coaches appreciate you, how much loyalty they have to Coach Brown and Coach Warren, and then you got a Kannapolis dude, Coach Black, from right down the road. But Coach, I got a question. In fact, man, I don't even know you know who this is, but NF is a rapper, and his whole basis is real. Like, that's real music, being real and doing right and all those types of things. But Coach, man, you took over for a legend in this area, man. A lot of people don't know Coach Adams, but he is a legitimate legend, man. And you took him over. He was your best friend. He was your mentor. You've been with him for almost a decade. Coach, what has that been like, stepping out of Coach Adams' not shadow, but being his number 2 for so long? He goes down the road to your big rival, but now you're taking over the program for yourself. What has that adjustment been like for you? I know the guys bought into you because they knew you, but what has been kind of the highs or the lows or the struggles or the awesome things that have happened from that?
I think that, I talked to Coach Gitt when he took over. He congratulated me. I congratulated him. We're going through it together. I don't know if I could have made this transition at a different institution in a pandemic, because these coaches that are going through this without knowing their team. I took over, Coach. I knew every single person on the roster. So I think that transition. And we have a great president. Our president, Dr. Tiffany Franks, if you go to Grimsley High School in Greensboro, is Joe Franks Field. And we have a great athletic director who speaks all over the country, well, in person, but now it's Zoom. You know what I mean? So the transition, there's things that if you hear me speak, you hear Coach Adams. And if you hear, when I talk about, the controllables, uncontrollables, directly from Coach Limbo. So I've been so blessed, Coach. I worked for Hall of Fame head coaches at every stop I've been. And so blessed is the word. Coach Gittens said it. He said it, and I'm like, man, you should have put me on first because he's taking everything I want to say, right? But I get the opportunity with a great university that if you look at it, we have a majority of our roster from North Carolina. And it's no knock on our state. We love our state and we recruit our state, but to get to population, that's where we're at. And you look at my staff, I've got great guys that played for us. And that's not because it's convenient and easy. You have to hire the best people for the job. But we have 6 coaches on our staff that graduated from Averett. And like I told the group of recruits we had today, if a class shows up on your schedule, odds are somebody on our staff took that class, right? So I have guys that are so passionate about where we're at that my job is easy. And I think, Coach McClanahan, you might be able to speak to it. The transition for me, the hardest part is when Coach Adams made me the offensive coordinator calling plays. I think the step away from the X's and O's to all the administrative stuff was the most difficult thing for me. That I was used to a checklist. all right, script is done. All right, practice plan is done. And that was the end of it. And as the head coach, I joke with the athletic director that my checklist never stops, and I'm a checklist type person. And when it doesn't stop, I just feel like sometimes that I go to sleep and did I get anything done? And I think that that's the hardest part about the transition is that, you know, I don't want to say not coach, you like you said, I've coached quarterbacks, I've coached receivers, coach offensive line, I've coached defensive line. There, I could create a checklist that I could complete. As the head coach, the checklist is never complete.
Ever.
So I think that's the hardest part.
Well, Coach, you know how much I appreciate you, and I know that you're going to continue to build that program and take it to even newer, higher levels and win conference championships. I believe it. I know you offered a spot to one of my guys this weekend as well. That was super exciting. Got the text back and forth with him.
Tight end.
Yes, sir. Yeah, big
player.
Kid,
Love him
kid,
to death.
Moves well, bends well. But Coach, you know how much I appreciate you, and thank you for all the work that you did for me over the years. And I look forward to continuing to following you as a head coach now.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this invite, man. I was so humbled. I was fired up. You know, you're my guy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Have a great evening.
Man, that's good stuff, Kenny. So what's the deal with this beard, though? You muted yourself, Ken.
You guys have seen the growth and the lack of growth. We went back to school on Tuesday, so you can't have a beard and wear a mask. It's tough, but yeah, it's true. You know, typically in the fall time, I would start growing a beard just in most part because you don't have any time to shave. And I would let it grow, and kind of the hope was that by the time the playoffs came, you'd play for a couple of weeks and it'd keep your face warm. And I'd usually shave it about New Year's Day. You don't get any kisses from your wife during that time. At least I didn't. But the good news is you always have leftover food in your beard that you can pick out, and you always have free toothpicks. So it was nice dental floss for me.
All right. Thank you, Kenny, for that lovely story there. Appreciate it. All right. Coach, my last question for you, man. And you just mentioned, offering, a kid, down here. What recruiting tips can you give the kids, especially 21 kids that haven't played football like most of them here in North Carolina? How can they get seen and get offers from coaches such as, yourself here?
I think, the key is the communication part. And I'm just going to be honest, a lot of the coaches on our staff, the younger guys, are really, really in tune to the Twitter, and I'm starting to catch up on that. But it's about emailing, it's about reaching out. We in the Charmac area, we've been in contact with pretty much every head coach in Mecklenburg or Union County, and that's what we've been able to establish, since February the 1st of 2014 was to try to get boots on the ground. And I think that the next key for them will be, if they get 4 or 5 games to get us that film. But it starts with them reaching out and letting us know they're interested. And they call it recruiting for a reason. If you're at Alabama or Clemson or Ohio State, they're all offering the number 1 quarterback or number 1 running back. Well, recruiting's no different. We can't recruit everybody that wants Averett, because there's people still in this area that didn't know we had a football program. And so, it comes down to it's called recruiting for a reason. You have to recruit yourself, and then we have to recruit people that at times think that they should be scholarship players. So I think it goes hand in hand.
Well said, Coach. Well said. Appreciate, sharing that advice. We have a lot of kids that follow us, and they're just begging for offers and attention, and they're just looking for every little bit of, information that can help them, be seen. So definitely appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming on with us tonight, Coach. That was awesome. And, I'm going to try to cut up that whole program philosophy you broke down and put that out there, because I think a lot of people need to hear that, man. That was some great stuff right there.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time tonight, Coach. We appreciate you, man.
No problem. And you've got my cell phone now, and moving forward, it's about prospect camps. It's about, once this stuff clears up and we can take these masks off and we can go back to the normal, it's about doing that. It's about going to let people see you work, and see you in action and see how you take coaching, because I think the transition from high school to college, the question is always going to be, how are they going to react when you say something different than their high school coach said? And the impact from the little speech I gave that my high school coach had on me. And when you see them at camp, they might be coached by somebody that wasn't their coach. And so I think that once this thing clears up, I think prospect camps are key to go out and be able to be seen by a lot of different coaches at one time.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hopefully this stuff clears up soon so we can start getting back to a little bit of normalcy around here.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Coach, man. And we'll reach out and hopefully we can have you on the show again, at some point down the road.
Whenever you need me, I'm ready.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much, Coach.
Have a great evening.
All right, you too, sir.
All right, bye-bye.
Right. All right, so that's Averett University head coach Patrick Henry. I thought was very impressive with several things that he said. I appreciate Kenny, with the assist on getting him on the show. All right, so let's bring in everybody because we've had several guests tonight, and it looks like Brandon's a ghost. So we'll let Brandon, kind of get his stuff together in the background. But there he is. All right, so hey, he's not a ghost. All right, so
Not yet.
all right, so all right, so let's get into it, man. We are now, as Kenny says in the private background chat, we're on time for the second week in a row. So I'm excited about that. So let's stay on time. Let's sound off. Let's go. All right. So he said he had a lot to say, so I'm gonna let him talk. Mr. Illustrious Billups, it's your time. Leading off sound off tonight. There we go.
I really don't got a lot to say because I'm just a regular smeller guy. But my sign out is for my two inspirations in this world that a lot of people know, because I'm just a father. That's all I am. I'm have my time. I'm just trying to make it around the sun. 12 years ago on this day, we got to be inspired, all the young black boys. We got to see the first black president. Today was for the black females when they saw Vice President Harris get inaugurated. It warmed my heart when I hit my ex-wife who was talking, and she told my oldest daughter had pearls on, and she was watching it and hearing her say, my ex-wife tell you could be anything, even Vice President of the United States. And my baby said, yes, I can. That warmed my heart. And then also hearing my youngest daughter, she watched it too. And her mother was telling her, the similar thing. My sound off is, listen, sometimes in life, things ain't always gonna go your way. Look at your dad. Your dad don't have some ups, he don't have some downs, but he always get back up. But my greatest glory in this world is being y'all two's father. And it drives me, it fuels me. It actually saved my life. My oldest, when I was going through my spiral, she looked at me in my eyes and she said, Dad, I love you. And I cried like I know people like to laugh at me about stuff like that, but I cried like a little girl, and I told her I'd never let her down. And that would drive me. That's why I tell Pep all the time. I say, I could walk away from football any day. I only do this because I love my school. I love the program because I remember how much joy West Charlotte gave me when I was a kid. If I was just doing football, I would say Providence with my best friend Wes and Coach Johnson. But I wanted to do something different. I wanted to give back to my community. And that's why I do everything that I do now. Everything now I do is for my children. I made a lot of mistakes even, you know, with my ex, and I had to make sure I fixed it. But my thing in the world now is I'm always gonna be there. I'm gonna be a listening ear. I'm gonna be there, your biggest cheerleader. And I'm always gonna be dead. Nothing ever to stop me. But I just want y'all both to know that y'all to grow up and y'all can do better than your raggedy daddy ever done. And I'm proud and I love you. And salute to all the Black women. Make sure you know your voice should be heard. Use it. Never let nobody say, hey, you're too loud, you're too aggressive. That what makes y'all strong, dynamic, and beautiful. That's my sound.
That's beautiful, man. That's absolutely beautiful. I'll make sure that I cut that up and I'll send it to you so, you know, they can have that to cherish, you know, for a really long time. That's very good stuff, man. All right, let's go to the queen of CFI, Cherie Glenn, for the first time tonight. And sound off. You have the floor, queen.
It's crazy because I'm actually going to kind of piggyback off of Coach Billups. I'm not going to do a sports sound off tonight. I'm actually going to sound off and give a shout out to Amanda Gorman. And if you didn't watch the inauguration today, she was a 22-year-old poet who recited a poem during the inauguration. And, you know, just the strength that she had and she carried with that poem just, you know, resonated with me. And she said something, she said this, and I'm going to quote her. She said, "A country in a time where a skinny Black girl raised, descended from slaves, and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming a president, only to find herself reciting to one." And that was one of the many quotes that, you know, just really touched my heart. And I just, you know, I wanted to say that, you know, at a time, especially when, you know, there was such craziness 2 weeks ago to the day in the same building that they had the inauguration in, you know, it just, the way the whole thing went was just priceless. I enjoyed watching it, but her specifically, I just wanted to give her a shout out for that.
Very good, very good. I mean, there were a lot of, you know, touching moments, you know, in the inauguration today. That was definitely one of them. So I appreciate you highlighting that, Miss Queen Cherie. Thank you very much. All right, let's go to the producer, Brandon Black, and get his sound off.
So, just two quick things. Somewhat echoing the statements of my previous two colleagues. You know, I want to say, you know, I'm just to keep it simple. I'm optimistic for the future, and you know, carrying some optimism for the, you know, the new era that began today. Hopefully, we can see a lot of change, because I don't think anyone would disagree that a lot of change needs to take place in this country. So I'm hoping that we can look back and say that the change we need, you know, began today. And, you know, it's great to see the, you know, a show of diversity in our leadership that we've never seen before, you know, like my colleague stated before. So great to see, just carrying the optimism and just hopeful to see what comes next. And lastly, I'll close with this. You know, I'll jump back to sports for a moment. You know, want to plead. I don't usually get what I want, and I know they probably won't do it, but it would be nice to see the leadership of the Carolina Panthers, Tepper, and the new GM to put some sort of offer together for Deshaun Watson. Just if they officially put him on the market, throw something out there. Make a change. Make an effort, man. Put some package together and just go for it, man. He's 25. He's proven he can play, because even if you draft a quarterback, you don't know what you're getting. A lot of, you know, we already know, history tells us that only a few of the quarterbacks drafted in the first round actually pan out. So plead in my case, put something together, give it a shot, and I'm done.
I totally agree. And we, you know, we're texting some things back and forth to each other today. And what do we got to lose?
Right.
We're already bad. We ain't got nothing to lose. We ain't got nothing to lose. So I agree with you. Totally. All right, let's go to the engine. Kenny McClamrock.
I'm going to keep it fairly low key as well. I didn't get to watch a whole lot of the inauguration. I was in the middle of class, and Cabarrus County has this deal where a student's parent has to sign an OK slip before they can watch it. So it kind of limited what I was able to do, but I was able to catch the end of now President Biden's speech, and I was able to hear Garth Brooks sing Amazing Grace. And then Sheree was talking about the poem that was read. I caught parts of it, but I was kind of in between getting ready for class to start. But when I heard Garth Brooks sing, it brought me back. Amazing Grace. I'm nowhere near the person that I need to be spiritually, or even a good person for that matter. But I love Amazing Grace, and I love the story behind Amazing Grace. I posted about it today online, but a lot of people don't know the story. The song was written by a guy named John Newton. And John Newton lived back during the 1700s, during the 18th century. And John Newton was a pretty bad, stinking dude. He was a drunk. He was violent. But maybe his worst characteristic was that John Newton was a slave trader. He was an active slave trader. In fact, he was the captain of a fairly large slave trading ship. He transported thousands of Africans from the West African coast to the New World. And one day, as he was making his rounds on what historians call the triangular trade, the triangle between Africa and America and Europe and back to Africa again, he was sailing near the coast of Ireland when this just awful, treacherous storm came, and waves are crashing against his ship. And this almost battle-hardened, this guy who had been selling a ship since he was 12 years old, whose dad had taught him how to sell a ship at age 12, who had made this trek thousands of miles in this triangle, was so afraid. The storm was so awful. The waves were crashing so hard that this vile man cries out in just fear, God, if you're real, save me. And the story goes that the storm doesn't go away, but he is saved. And at that moment, John Newton began to make small changes in his life. He didn't have this crazy radical conversion like you might see in a movie or on a television show, but he begins to make small, sudden changes. In fact, the conversion was so slow at points, he actually did sail a couple more trips, 3 more voyages, carrying African slaves from Africa to the America. But just a few years later, John Newton suffers a stroke. He has this radical change, the kind that you see about in a movie or on Netflix, and he completely changes his entire way of life. He realizes the mistakes he had made. He realizes the awful, evil things that he had been doing. And John Newton is going to spend the rest of his life not only basically living as a monk, but also fighting against the evilness of slavery back in his home country of England. And several years later, he's an old man at this point. He sits down and he begins writing what we would now call hymns. And one of those hymns was a story of his life. And that very first verse says, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. All of us have heard the song, whether we grew up in church or not grew up in church. We've all heard that line before. But when you begin to realize just what he meant when he said that saved a wretch like me, the lowest of the low, the most evil of the most evil, the guy who literally transported thousands of Africans across the Middle Passage, across the Atlantic Ocean to America to meet their fate of being a slave. He said, I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. And when Garth Brooks saying that today, I had no idea Garth Brooks was still alive, but it really touched home to me, and it made me hopeful that America can be like John Newton. Of course, we've talked about this on the show a lot. We've seen so many awful things that have gone on over the last 8 months, 10 months in America, the riots and the burning, the looting and the insurrection, all this kind of stuff. But it really made me hopeful that if one of the most evil, vile, drunk men who's ever lived, a slave trader, a real slave trader, can change his life and at the end of his life fight with everything he had to get rid of slavery, to abolish the practice. It gave me hope for a better tomorrow. It gave me hope for our country. Someone posted online, there were some pictures, probably went viral. I haven't been online a whole lot today, but it was of past presidents, President Obama and President Bush and President Clinton, and President Bush is embracing Michelle Obama, and Nancy Pelosi has her finger over President Bush's shoulder. I think she's waving at somebody, and it just really made me hopeful that we can come back together, that we can figure out, man, we're not really divided. We don't really hate each other as much as what people may seem to think, as much as what social media tells us. But I'm really excited about our country's future moving forward, regardless if you're a Republican or a Democrat or you voted one way or the other. We all need to come together and to continue to make this place a better place to live.
It's great stuff, Kenny. That's great stuff, man. All you guys have brought some strong stuff tonight, man. I don't know if I feel worthy to be the closer tonight because, we got the inauguration, could have went about. I could have talked about the pandemic that's still going on. The Capitol riots we talked about recently. There's a lot going on in the world, that, you guys did a good job of touching on different areas. So my rant tonight is almost feeling kind of like not worthy of being discussed amongst all these other things. But man, I want to talk about the fact that I quit Madden. And like I said, it's not worthy of being mentioned with all those other things. But man, I can't deal with this Madden 21 game, man. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. The last game I played, I got Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. If you know anything about Madden, he's an X-factor quarterback, which means he can do really special things. So I run a play fake, and I got Christian McCaffrey in the slot going down the seam, one-on-one coverage. He beats the linebacker. It's a wide-open touchdown. Aaron Rodgers underthrows the ball, and the guy undercuts him and picks it off. That don't happen in real life. It doesn't happen in real life, but EA Sports, if it's in the game, it's in the game. It's BS, EA Sports. I'm tired of y'all. I quit Madden. I deleted it off my PS4, and now what am I playing? The Sims 4. I done gave up sports. Created my own family on The Sims 4. Now, granted, I'm having a good time with it, but still. I mean, that's where we are now. I love Madden. I have my own league and everything, but I had to give it I see someone commenting with a laugh. I don't know who you are, but I want you to comment so I can address this because this is very serious to me. I spent 5 years of my life running this Madden league, and I gave it all up because of crappy AI design by EA Sports, and I'm tired of it. I'm done. Billups, I'm done. You want my old PS4? I'm done with it, man. I'm done with it. It's ridiculous. Waste of my time. All right, so, it was Miss Moulton. Oh, okay. Well, Miss Moulton, if you play Madden, you don't be wasting your time. So don't pick up Madden. Don't get it for Jameer. Don't waste your time with it. Go play 2K, a real sports game, okay? That's all I got to say about that. And she's still laughing at me, so there you go. All right. All right, I'm going to bring everybody in now because we're going to talk for a few minutes before we get to the slime. We got to address the big thing going on right now, and that is the conference realignment, part 2.
Can I just say something to your rant right quick? It's actually way better. It's actually way better on a PS5. Like, you know how the linebacker play, a 60 overall linebacker run where everybody just go in the middle, and like when you jump up, like the receiver is like Devontae Adams is like Larry Adams on the game. DeAndre Hopkins is like Marvin Hopkins. But on PlayStation 5, if you have a big name receiver or one of them players, they're good. Like my quarterback's Kirk Cousins. He has a noodle arm. It's noodle. It's linguine. But A-Rod, I play A-Rod the computer, and like on PS4, man, you remember like you kill all the computers. Nah, Green Bay put 65 on my Vikings. I was like, Lord Jesus, it was just you couldn't do nothing. I was like, it was the bombing of Pearl Harbor. It was Hiroshima, and I was like, Lord Jesus, but it's way better. And the reason why, man, is like that they put more effort into the next gen version than they did the regular version. So that we go to the next topic. I'm sorry, but I just had to tell you, it's way better than PS5. Me and Brandon have the next gen. You need to level up. I'm sorry. You probably don't mute me. I'm sorry.
Got her.
Well, look, go. Hold on, Brandon. Look, because I need to address this. So Brandon has like 18 different gaming systems over there, and then he always texts me talking about he gonna play an old Sega Genesis. So I mean, if you're really gonna do that, then just give me your PS5 so I can have a great Madden experience.
I actually play my Nintendo DS more than I play my PlayStation 5 because I'm at work all the time, and I just take my DS with me. So
all right. Matt, I'll let you have my PS5 for $1 million cash, and I'll even throw in free delivery.
Ooh, take it, Pat.
You're such a great friend there, sir. I appreciate that.
Free delivery included, man. So you can just
whatever. All right, so I need to address a couple comments before we move on. So Miss Bird, she says she's from Danville, so that's where Averett University is, and that's where. And her husband, Coach Bird at Hopewell, met. So that's great. That's great. That's a nice little story right there. So Kenesha's saying, I guess you're talking about you, Billups. You just want to brag about your PS5. So
I don't have to brag. Everybody knows. I glow. Me and Brandon glow of a next gen aura. I just can't help it that you bottom, or you piece that plate You're beneath me. I'm in the rich game. I got 5. I can't help it. Help it. I'm sorry.
All right then. Okay, we'll go with that.
I'm about to get muted. He about to take me out the picture. Watch.
No, I'm not.
It's coming. It's coming. Give the people what they want.
No.
It's coming. No. Your trigger finger's itching. Look at it. I see you.
I'm not going to give
sweat.
It to you.
I see the sweat dripping down your eyes. I'm not asking for it.
Sweat. Sir, do not incite me, sir. Okay? Thank you. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about realignment. So I'm going to bring the realignment on the screen, part 2, and we're going to talk about that here real quick. So let's see here. All right. So there wasn't a lot of differences, but there were a couple that, were interesting that I want to discuss here. So let me go down to the 4A. That's what we're going to focus on here.
All right, no, we're going to talk about.
Oh yeah. We had a little discussion about that earlier today. So
it was a beautiful discussion. It was beautiful.
Everybody see that? Okay. Let me. All right. So let's take that off. All right. So the big thing, and I don't understand this. There's a couple things I don't understand. So first off, I'm just going to get right into it. West Charlotte and West Meck in the IMEC in Conference 60. They moved Garinger out. They put them back, pretty much where they already were in the Southwest there. But West Charlotte and West Meck in the IMEC. I said this before, and I saw some other people, take my statement and restate it somewhere else.
Still your whole flow.
I said it first.
They still your whole flow.
I hate that. I hate when that happens.
Little kid over there.
I guess we should be used to it by now.
Nah, man, you're a ghostwriter. Oh man, let me stop. I'm supposed to be good. I'm being good. It's ghost. We got ghostwriters, man. We good.
I'm just
stop laughing at me.
I'm sorry. It's my fault. I'm sorry. All right. So honestly, West Charlotte and West Meck need to be with Harding and Berry. It makes the most sense for all those schools involved. They're going to get the best gates playing each other. Mm-hmm. They always do when they play non-conference. Competitively, all schools are about in the same, area right now. And then you can pair them with 3 other schools. Just taking a look at what we have here. Those 4 with, say, an Olympic, you could keep South Meck with that group, and then one other school that might make some sense. Maybe a Rocky River because they're around that same, population size. I think you have a fair and balanced league right there, and you can move 2 other teams into that IMEC that make a little bit more sense to me. Some discussions online I saw Independence, maybe moving to the IMEC
They're
based
not
on,
gonna do that.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, it just makes
Well,
more sense to me to
yeah.
keep schools of similar population sizes together. That's
Well,
what I'm getting at here.
I would say this, speaking to my athletic director Josh Harris. At the end of the day, because everybody from West Yard, Sam, we all been seeing the statements, the comments, everybody talking about poor West Yard, poor West Met. Actually, I have ties to West Met. My brother Jesse Wilkins is the AD there, and I would say everybody's correct. We do want to build a program, but at the same time, we got to take what you get. You sit here and cry wolf and do this stuff, but me being a Charlotte native, we would like to be in there with Harding. You actually want to be in a conference with Independence and them. You know what I'm saying? Have Indy in there because it's an old school rivalry. We would like rivalries that made sense for when I was in school. But I get it, but I'm not mad at the conference. Play football, play sport. But this is bigger than football. I think a lot of time people get on these, start voice their opinion. They're speaking on one program. But West Charlotte, we would like to build the volleyball program. You would like to build the track, the tennis, the baseball. You would like to see them things like Kenny will tell you, West Charlotte used to have a wonderful baseball team and stuff back in the day. I'm 36 now. But I gotta get used to being back in the day. But we had a state championship track program. The track program's gone. Not really. And this is what Coach Harris is trying to do. So it's football, but I get it. I'm not gonna say nothing because at the end of the day, we're gonna do what the state asks us to do. But I'm more excited for Garinger because I want Garinger to be allowed to rebuild that program and actually have a fair chance at it. I would, even East Met, Coach Fowler over there trying to do some things. It's a bunch of program in Charlotte because, we all on the big, super team mode now. And there ain't no shot at no coach at none of these schools. It's just, that's how people are selling, Look at James Harden, he left Houston to go form the Justice League, my fault, not the Justice League, the Legion of Doom over there. Like, who want to see that next team right now?
That's such garbage. That's such garbage.
But that's society. It's not garbage. It's what society builds. It's what I said on Twitter. Like, we're all on the shock and wow factor now. So, at the end of the day, you want to build these black communities up, and you want to see these prominent schools. I want to see South Met do better in sports. They're known for baseball. You know what I'm saying? Now that basketball teams are doing it, males and boys. The problem is, you want to see the football team get back to how it was, and the track program. They got outstanding track program, outstanding swimming, outstanding baseball, outstanding women's basketball. But you want to see that boys basketball team get back to where they used to be. It's a lot of things. Like, we sit here and talk, but it's all about the communities investing in these schools again. And so that's what we as coaches, we got to be supported. Like, when I was at Providence, I used to be there every season, all the basketball games, all the track functions and stuff like baseball games, just to let the kids know. They knew Coach Bill was going to be there, but, we got to take what we get. So, hey, we can sit here and say Conference 60 is terrible. Yeah, I would love to play 3A ball. We playing 3A, but that's not even fair to the 3A team. Like, we'll play West Met. Whoever win that game get the number one seat, But it is what it is, And
I'll tell you, I coached at Harding when we were in that same situation with West Met, when it was a 4AA, 4A split conference type situation. And I mean, it's crazy. My whole thing is school size, need to be put together with this. That's what I'm saying. You got 5, Vance is kind of borderline 4A, but they're lower 4A. But those other schools right there, those are pretty big 4A schools. All I'm saying is
really Hopewell numbers, they just gap back.
They're in the middle, But all I'm saying, you got better options, school population wise, to go together. Like, you put a West Charlotte, West Met with Harding and Berry, and an East Meck and a Rocky River, all of them pretty much in the same amount of size of schools. As far as school population goes, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, no,
We have a lot of big schools here in Charlotte.
Is that what they're basing? Is that what they're basing?
Nah,
off of?
We don't know what they're basing it on.
It looks
because
like
you got
problem.
It looks
because
like
Sharif, you gotta look at it like this. Like even the conference I just came from, Providence, we play Olympic and West Met. They was in our conference,
Right.
and everybody talking about the driving. If we played at West Met, we would not get home at a decent time after that game on Friday. If we play Olympic, we would not get. It's not right down the street. Like the only thing that really made sense was South and AK, Barry, and Olympic and West Met. We had in Harding. We had to leave early just to get to them games. Right. Matter of fact, I think we were late for the game. When we late for the Harding, we were all late for the game. Like we got there late, but
about 6:30.
Yeah, like because you get called at 5 o'clock traffic. But that's what I'm saying. Like they all saying like, hey, well, they're down the street. This is down the street. Man, like when we play Independence, and Central Cabrera was in our conference, and they ain't care about that. So it just depends on not throwing shots at the state, but it just depends on how the state feels that day. It's just me being honest.
Independence, Butler, and Independence, Butler, and Providence have always been in the same classification. So I'm just trying to figure out.
Well, that changed. You remember at first? Well, you probably was not in high school. My first 2 years when I was at West Charlotte, we was in there with Indy. It was us, Indy, North. Vance was not even in it. It was crazy. It was us, Indy, Central Cabrera, Harding, West Met. Yeah, that was it. It was something crazy like that.
Pretty close.
Yeah,
pretty close. Yep. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. This is what it came down to. If the state would have did what we talked about over a month ago, and they created this super league, this mega league that all the teams that want all the smoke and all the sports, not just football, because we get caught up in football.
Yeah.
But the Butlers, the Charlotte Catholics, the Independences, the Providences, the Huffs, the Mallow Creek, the North Megs, and the Vances. That league, a super league. Here's the problem. You would have had that super league where you have teams in that school in every single sport, and they're successful on one side. And then the other half of Charlotte, let's be honest, let's be real here, let's call it what it is, would have been known as the Black School League. Like, just being real. And the state of North Carolina did not want to look like they were Swan versus Board of Education, and they were the opposite of Swan versus Board of Education. They had a white school league and a black school league. Right. And here's the problem that I have, because once again, we get caught up with football because we're a football show. Right. But let's be for real here for a minute. Like I've already said, that I think it's bull crap what they're doing to West Meck and West Charlotte. Let those schools compete against other schools their side and let them dudes do well. But here's the problem for, like, take a Huff. Now, and I ain't trying to throw any shade on other schools in this league, League 60. But Huff is going to have struggles in football and in basketball. They're going to have other teams that can compete with them. But every other sport in that league, baseball, softball, track, minus Vance, golf, cross country, every other sport, wrestling, Huff is going to dominate, and they could take their JV teams out there and be successful against most of those teams. Not throwing shade, but Coach Harris will tell you, I'm sure, West Charlotte ain't got a tennis team right now. I mean, let's be real about it.
And our volleyball team had won a game. Our volleyball team had won a game in conference in a while.
And Huff is competing for state championships in all those sports, in wrestling and in swimming and in volleyball. And North Meck can compete with them in basketball. Valley Creek and Vance can compete with them in basketball. And
not really, because Creek basketball program is rebuilding. Like is
it down now? So it's been a minute. So they should have created a super league. They should have created a league of all these teams that are top 5 in the state in every single sport. Myers Park is more than just a football program.
And let them play each other,
And let them play each other.
But at the end of the day, that
smaller schools that don't have the resources and don't have the other non-revenue schools.
Because what I'm
talking about this, Garinger, why would I want to play football at Garinger when I know I'm going to get drilled every week by 60?
Right.
And that ain't me throwing shade.
Right.
This is
No.
being real. Why would a West Charlotte girl want to come out for volleyball when they never played volleyball in their life, minus PE class? And them girls at Huff are traveling all over the country every single weekend.
I mean, the way it looks, it's like most of these conferences, there's like, you see one team that is pretty much going to dominate that entire conference.
Conference.
And like, I see like 3 or 4 that I could call out. And it's just, I mean, is that the purpose?
And to me, the only rational sense that it makes is the state didn't want to look like they were segregating the schools.
Right.
They were so afraid of having the white league or the black league, even though we know, y'all know, that the only white school in the county is Huff. Let's be for real. Like every other school, Providence, Coach Bill, you talked about the number of low SES.
But even at that school, even at Providence, you got to look at it. The only sport that really could compete in a super is baseball, track, and swimming, and girls basketball. That boys basketball team is struggling. It's always been struggling. And then our football program.
That's what the Huff needs. They need that Providence that's going to compete against them in girls basketball. That's going to compete against them in swimming. Because Providence, at least last time I knew, Providence was competing for state championships in swimming every single year.
Yeah, it's them in South.
Cullen Jones, he won an Olympic gold medal.
Yeah,
like there are other sports, and we get caught up in football.
No, you're right. And soccer, and Providence soccer team is pretty good too, both boys and girls.
It's tough for me to go against what you're saying, Coach Phillips, because you're coaching at West Charlotte. You're going to be the one on the sideline, but I just don't see it right, man. I don't see how we're doing just by those kids at West Charlotte.
Adversity, man.
It ain't right. They've got the smallest numbers in the city, minus like a Berry, but they're having to go up against Huff and Mallard Creek and North Meck, who has almost twice the size of numbers, man. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's not right. And
you got a valid point. You got a valid point, and a lot of people are not going to see that valid point. You have a very valid point, and I'm glad that you spoke on it. But like I said, most people are looking at the football and the basketball aspect. They're not looking at the track, the swimming, the tennis, the boys soccer, the boys baseball, females baseball. You know what I'm saying? They're not looking at that. But
when's the last time that West Charlotte's had a JV girls tennis team?
Probably when I was in school. And they were boys
in those sports. Like it's not fair to them, and it's not fair to the schools who do have those things. Put all the schools, put all the halves, if you want to call that, together, and put everyone else in a league. And you know what? Let's really find out who the best in Charlotte is. Like we talk about it, but let's really find out. Let's do something.
But you already know they don't cry about that travel, man. That's why when I saw the erroneous things about travel, I said, do you know how far we had to drive?
How long does it take you to travel 10 miles in Charlotte traffic anyhow? It doesn't matter where you are.
It's like I said, when we went to Harding, we got it took us, we left at 5. We didn't get there like 6:45 because it was just, and it's tough. Even when they were coming to us, even when West Met came to us, it was tough for them. They got there like 20 minutes to kick off and stuff. Even when y'all came, y'all had to leave extra early.
And then, I mean, you got the asinine Charlotte Mecklenburg. We got to start at 7:00 deal for football games.
Yeah.
And you know why that was? Because it was believed 15 years ago that if you started at 7:30 and it was darker sooner, it increased the risk of crime at the game. Like, get the heck out of here. 7:00, 7:30, man. Y'all got Charlotte traffic. You're right. I mean, we got to Providence. I want to say
y'all got early.
Like
y'all got there early.
5:05, somewhere in that range, because I drove the trip, but I didn't drive the trip on a Friday night with traffic. Like it was just like
we played that early, didn't we? We played it early, didn't we?
We played at 7 because it was Charlotte time.
It's dark at 5:45, 6 o'clock. Anyway.
But the thing I hated about that, you remember when we played y'all Thursday, we had to play at Cabarrus time. So usually we was like, it don't make sense. Like when we like, let's say we had to play Senator Cabarrus varsity at Central Cabrera. We've been playing at 7:30, right? Then that y'all kick off time. Yeah, but so when we came to play them JV,
it was
we was at 7. I was like, I ain't don't get home and get no sleep, like, because you gotta wash the uniforms, and then I got to get ready to coach Friday, and then Friday I was squeezing in the field before the game, and Kenny was out there laughing at me. I had my combat boots on, but I don't think a lot of people understand the they talk about this travel stuff. It's like, dude, we drove but Providence is this school privilege. That's just elephant in the room. But I'm not even talking about that. Harding had to do it. West Met had to do it. Olympia had to do it. Pepperton, them are tough trips. They got to go to South Met, and they had to come play Providence. You got Providence, South Met, and AK all on the same side. You got Barry, Harding, West Met, and the O. That's a far trip. And like Olympics, like on the outskirts.
Mm-hmm. Over there by
yeah, like
and I'm gonna tell you what happened, man. Last time I was coaching at Harding, 2014, we had to go to AK, and I left right from my job because I work in Ballantyne, and I told our bus driver at the time, I said, "Hey, don't go down 485. Come down Park Road because 485 is a parking lot this time of day."
Yeah.
So of course I wasn't there. They didn't listen. They got on 485. They got there at 6:55. And the game, like you said, Kenny, dumb decision. Game starts at 7. I'm talking, and I'm just gonna say it. I was talking to the people in charge at the time over there, trying to buy time, and they said, "No, we got to start on time. It's homecoming." I said, "Oh, really? We can't get 10 minutes to warm up." No, they couldn't get 10 minutes to warm up.
That's why I tell all these schools, be lucky where you at, because I remember when I was at West Shaw and we went to AC Reynolds for a playoff game. You Charlotte team, it's a lot of discrimination to a Charlotte team, and that's not just black and white. That ain't just a black team. The white teams get it too. So, I think what people need to understand is it's all about making a fair balance of play. And you're a powerhouse, be a powerhouse. But it's like my man said, the coach game. A lot of people say they're in here in this thing for these kids, but let's be honest, a lot of coaches coach for their ego, to feed their egos and stuff like that. And like I said, I don't do all that calling out because I got my egos on my kids. I would sell out for my kids any day. That's just me. But a lot of people will feed their egos by, hey, we kick this team, but we dropped 90 on these people. Right. And I've been, when I was at Hopewell, we didn't have a lot of linemen, and we went and play that high-power Vance team. Shoot, they almost put 105 on us my first year there. And I was like, in order to build it, I would like for all these top-ranked coaches right here to tell me how y'all would keep them kids playing after getting whooped and embarrassed like that. And it's tough. We lost like 2 kids that night, but the ones who stayed, that's why I still got that picture in my office of them. That was my favorite Hopewell team because they fought. We didn't win no game, goose egg. Yeah. But they fought. They came back every day. And I said, God, we just don't have fun, do the best we can. That's why I applaud Garinger. I can't talk bad about Garinger. I talk bad about when I was in school. Got West Shaw versus everybody when I was in school. Now as a grown man, I don't want to see the G. I don't want to see the G down because G. I tell y'all what, y'all ain't want to see him in track and basketball back in the day, boy. That was a hard out. That was a hard out, and that program don't come back. But it's like Cherie said, who wants to get their teeth kicked in and not out? And it's hard for coaches and ADs to say, "Hey, come play football." It's easy at these Huffs. It's easy at Butler. It's easy at Charlotte Catholic. It's easy at AK now. That's
what I'm saying. Easy. Park, you got them Myers Park going up against Hardin and Barry. Like, what do you think Myers Park is going to score on Barry? Really? Like, let's be for real.
Boy, I tell you what, that Myers Park game last year for me when I was at Providence, that was the most humbling game of my life. Drake May, boy, when he threw that there backside 9 route to Porter Rooks, and my corner was step to step with him. He caught it in stride. I said, "Hey man, that boy good." But yeah, no, it's, I love it, but it's privilege. I'm sorry to say it's privilege. And it's not me saying it's white, it's privilege.
Just to end this topic, for tonight, and this goes back to, just my standard belief in equality and being equitable and giving everybody a fair shot. And Kenny, I wholeheartely agree with what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Just looking at the population size of it, I'm telling you, I played at Harding when we were in 3A. That's when I played against Kenny, and they were beating us up when we went to Concord, and they came to Harding, and it was hard. It was hard playing in 3A, but at least we were playing against teams that had similar school populations, and it was more of a fair shot. And that's the thing that I hate, about some of these different ways this plan is set up. We didn't go into some of the other conferences, but I can't stand that. That's the thing that drives me with Harding and doing the booster club and fighting for facilities and all of that stuff.
Well,
and
Pat, you've been to a Harding West Met game. You've been to a Harding West Met game last 2 years. Please let the people know you had a 4A school with 7 players on the team, on the basketball team. That's all they could field. And you would tell me that's fair?
We've heard it tonight. Coach Gittens said that he had 12 seniors on his Parkwood team. Huff had 12 guys graduate early last week. Just think about that for a minute. That just shows the discrepancy between your typical 3A school numbers and a big 4A school. The old 4AA type schools. It's just incredible. It's not fair. It's not equitable.
I can't stand it. It just drives me up a wall, man. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't do loser of the week. I forgot, to do it. So I'm sorry about that. So we can do Super Bowl predictions to end it, but let's go to the slime, because I feel like everybody got somebody they want to slime this past week. I know I do, but I don't want to go first. So
Producer Brandon, slime. Who you sliming this week, man?
Well, I'm gonna go. It's funny that Mr. Petman kind of mentioned it in talking about quitting Madden, and I actually want to slime the entire EA Sports league because honestly, man, Madden it should just be so much better, because I haven't, honestly, man, I try every year. I really haven't actively played Madden probably since the PS2 era, because it's just lacking in, ever since 2K, they got exclusive rights and 2K was gone. Madden just, sometimes it looks pretty, and they always talking about these new animations and new features and how good the grass looks, man. But sometimes the physics and things are just out of whack, man. So whoever's in charge of EA Sports, just drop just a big, cement truck full of slime in that whole office, man, because they need it, and they need to start over. Honestly, this shouldn't even be a Madden 22. They need to just take a year off. They need the red shirt next year and then come back, and that's all I got, man.
Yeah, I'm not even going to lie. I pulled out my PlayStation 2 this weekend, and I played Madden 2009, and I just want you to know I scored a whole bunch of points, but I got a whole bunch of points scored on me. The illustrious one. Who you sliming, Coach Billups?
I'm going to slime somebody who don't even come on the show no more. Cowboy Joe. I ain't appreciate it. Now you post that picture of me in my worst moment after my Rams lost. Honest to God, truth, man. I was proud of my boys. We had a good season. We should not even made it that far, with Robot Finger. And shout out to Aaron Donald for what you did, brother. You battled, but I know I'm the joke. I was the Joker's a CFI, and I could take it. I got broad shoulders, so it was fun. But I'm really proud of my Rams, so we got a bright future.
Coach Bills, I want you to know I didn't appreciate them making fun of you, man. I mean,
shut up. You were the first one.
All that mess he talked about his Rams, he deserved that. I'm sorry. They lost. Get over it.
I didn't know what time the Panthers were playing.
Get out of here. They wasn't playing.
I told you the couch is empty. I'm waiting on you, man. I got the couch ready.
Nah, man, we in Cabo. Oh, yeah, I also want to slide the whole Seahawks organization for that tacky stuff talking about coming. Yeah, players nowadays are little kids, man. I used to say little girl, but girls, my daughter's tougher than them jerks. Jamal Adams, that ruffian, boy, ooh. I went and gave some fisticuffs with him.
Now, last week, the Queen, she specially asked that this segment continue because she said, quote, I have thousands of people I want to slime. I think was what she said. So, Queen, who are you sliming this week?
I'm sliming Panther fans. Again, I don't know if it was last week, but I'm sliming them this week. So I follow, them on Facebook and on Twitter. And there's this thing going on right now about trying to get Deshaun Watson, but I want to know why you guys want to trade Christian McCaffrey for him. And it's been like real talk, like people just out there throwing Christian McCaffrey around like he's a piece of meat. Like, stop trying to trade that dude. We ain't even had a full season with him. We had the previous seasons, but I'm talking about like this season. Let that dude play. Let that dude be great. Why y'all trying to trade my boy? All of y'all deserve to be slimed. And that's probably about 70,000 people. So I got more, and I'll continue, so you continue.
Look, y'all trying to trade y'all savior.
Man, you know what I'm saying?
Y'all trying to trade y'all savior for Watson. And y'all got the nerve to talk about my illustrious Rams. Oh, my goodness. They're trying to get rid of your savior.
Man.
Take him down to the river. To the river.
Last 2-year plan in 2019, when many people thought he was an MVP player, he had 2,400 yards from scrimmage in that season. He caught the ball in the backfield. He ran off the edge. He ran up the gut. He was our quarterback's only friend that year.
He was y'all savior. The great white savior.
Somebody
else. White savior. White people been waiting on him for a long time, man.
I know y'all got one of them old church murals with him in it. Y'all got one of them old church murals with him like this. Just with the gleam of blessings coming to y'all. And y'all trying to trade him.
Man.
Y'all trying to trade your savior.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Bless him.
You're up, man. Who you sliming this week?
Coach Bill for being a jerk.
No, I'm not. There's been a lot of great TV shows on here the past few years with the advent of Netflix and Amazon Prime and all these other different services. But I want to slime the person who ever thought that damn 8 episodes is a season. Man, when we grew up in the 80s, you watching Family Ties, The Wonder Years, Family Matters. You had damn seasons that were about 47 episodes. Like every Friday night, you got a new episode.
Right.
I mean, am I lying or what? Now we got damn shows that got 6 episodes, season 1. That ain't a damn season. You TV writers and actors, put in some damn real work, man. I'm tired of wasting my time getting into a show. It's 6. You think you're really getting into it, and then it just ends. That's not a season. I'm sorry.
That's how close you were.
We want the Family Matters treatment. Come on. Man, bring back Family Matters.
We finished our last binge watching show a couple of weeks ago. We've been looking for the next show to binge watch, And so we finally found this awesome show on Netflix. It's from France. It's like one of those things where there's English, but it don't move with the mouth kind of deal. It's called Lupin. And Lupin, the story of this dude, it's an awesome show, and we're into it. And we're like, man, let's get in 2 shows a night. And all of a sudden, the second night we watch, babe, we're going to watch 3 shows a night. Let's be crazy. We watch the 3rd show, and next thing I know, it turned on a different show, 5 episodes long. In the world.
What the hell?
Are they saying people gonna like the show or not?
Guys, I got 3 recommendations for you. Great series, Your Honor, love it. American Skin, it's a movie, very powerful. Need to watch it. And One Night in Miami. Enjoy. You're welcome. But Your Honor, you're welcome. Watch it. Well,
I'm gonna finish it up, and I'm gonna stick with what Cherie said. Except I'm gonna preemptively slime somebody, and I'm gonna preemptively slime David. Fire his sorry butt Tepper. God, dog, that dude's done nothing but piss me off for this entire life. Let me tell you, David Tepper, if you try to get rid of Christian McCaffrey, and I've heard these knuckleheads on the radio. What kind of idiots? Anybody could be on the radio. How are they on the radio and we're not? That's what I want to know. I heard this fool on 610 radio. He said we should get rid of Christian McCaffrey and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first-round picks. He wanted to get rid of first-round picks in effing 2020, like 33. What are you talking about, dude? Do you know who we have? This is the only dude that we can count on offense because we don't know. We ain't going to have no offensive line. We're going to get rid of 5 offensive line picks. Really? Who's going to block for Deshaun Watson?
Right.
Really? Who's going to run?
We're going to be the same predicament.
And not to mention, we got dudes, receivers that are up for free agent coming up, man. Now, come on now. 5 first. David Tepper, this is what people don't realize. I watched the All or Nothing his first year when Cam Newton was still in there. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but they're at practice and they're talking. And David Tepper's like, because he's some kind of whatever you call it when like you can lose everything overnight and they're okay with it.
Racketeer.
And he said that he's lost 60% of his entire net worth twice. Now, remember, he's the richest owner in the NFL. He is worth billions of dollars.
Sound like a racketeer to me.
Twice. Man, this is why this dude got rid of everybody that we got rid of last year. It's why he paid $60 million for a college coach who doesn't know how to throw a red flag, who doesn't – I'm going to stop right there. But, David Tepper, I'm preemptively slamming you.
Sound like y'all owned by the mob.
Well, he's from Pittsburgh, so there you go.
Hey, it sound like a racketeer to me.
I want Deshaun, but I don't want to. I don't want to get rid of CMC to get Deshaun.
We can find another way to get him than find.
Man, y'all gonna get rid. Hey man, that cannoli eating owner you have is gonna get rid of him. He don't go in there with one of them bowler hats on and say, "Yeah, you see, and we're gonna trade CMC." Y'all got a racketeer as an owner. Sykester. You're a mean one, Mr. Tepper. He about to trade your whole franchise away. He about to Bill O'Brien the Panthers.
Jesus Christ.
Do it.
Lord bless you if you're still watching this show right now. There are 12 of you that I need to send you all CFI memorabilia merchandise.
Oh Lord.
Memorabilia.
Great.
Memorabilia.
I'm sorry. Anyway. All right, Super Bowl predictions. Let's go down the line. All right, Queen, what you got?
So for Bucks versus the Packers, I'm gonna take Tom Brady in this one. Tom Brady, if y'all don't know, they've only had 3 meetings, but he's 2-1 against him. And even though he's older, I still think he'll be more prepared for the cold than people think. I think he'll go out there. I think that defense is going to stand up for him, and I think they're going to win this game. It's going to be close, but I think they're going to win it. And for the other game, I'm going to go the Chiefs. I think that, even if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play, they got a great coach, and I think that they're going to take that team to the Super Bowl. So,
all right, Brandon, what you got?
Anything possible.
All right, I'm pretty much going the same route. I'm gonna go with Rodgers. Actually, no, I'm going different. I'm gonna go with Rodgers and the Packers. But I am gonna stick with the Chiefs. And you historians can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's a rematch of Super Bowl I. So I'm going Packers against Chiefs.
All right. The illustrious
Tom Brady arms don't fall apart in the cold this week. The noodle arm almost went out in New Orleans. So we're going discount double check because what he did against this tough, dynamic Rams team was incredible. You know, even though AD was, you know, he got stabbed, them darn thugs in Seattle, you know. And I'm going with Griselda's own, the Buffalo Bills, to shock the world because I actually believe even if Pat plays, I think Josh Allen and Dick, there's nobody, just like Pat, Kelsey, and Cheetah are the most dangerous combo. Nobody is stopping Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. They're the power couple in the NFL. It is so beautiful watching that. Just seeing interracial love on national television. It's so beautiful.
I want to see them win too. I really do want to see them win.
And they got one of the nastiest defense in the NFL. That defense is nasty. And the only way I see the Bucs win is that linebacker have another game like he did. That's all this called spade a spade. Drew Brees on my 2-year-old could throw the ball better than Drew Brees threw that game. He was out there throwing no-look passes, and then slant boys can run nothing. He tried to run that pivot route. That was the worst pivot route I've ever seen. I know Kenny was like, Jesus Christ. Like, Michael Thompson, change your name to Can't Guard Mike to Can't Run Nothing But Slant Mike. 0 goose egg.
All right.
No catches.
Oh, okay. All right.
Here we go. I'm about to get
Kenny,
watch. I'm about to get kicked out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what,
close.
These are going to be two great football games this weekend.
Yeah, I did the same thing, Ken.
Bucs versus Packers. I've had Packers going to the Super Bowl since the beginning of the season, but I was reminded last week that Tom Brady is still Tom Brady. Who saw him winning last week? Not I, that's for sure. I'm going to stick with the Packers on this one. Packers going to the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, he's the league MVP. He's the best player in the league right now, which you know how much I love Patrick Mahomes. So it hurts me to say that. And then on the other side, the big question mark is Patrick Mahomes. He practiced today, but when they say he practiced today, does that mean he was walking around the field, or is he jogging yet, or is he doing push-ups yet? Where is he? And with a week off of not doing a whole lot, what is he going to be capable of doing? He's not staring at his screen like when guys get COVID because he can't, because he's in concussion protocol, or he's not supposed to. But Coach Bills brings up a good point, man. I'll tell you what, this quarterback class with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, it may end up being the greatest quarterback class of all time. Josh Allen may be the transcendent quarterback that everybody thinks that Trevor Lawrence is getting ready to be. Like Josh Allen, and Stephon Diggs, that relationship, I posted about the love that those two dudes share.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's like the Notebook. It's like the Notebook, the NFL version.
I'm gonna go with the Bills. Y'all talked me into it. The Bills. Over. Sorry, Patrick Mahomes, man. My little boys are gonna be pissed off when they hear that. They love Patrick Mahomes, but the Bills and the Packers.
Wow, man. And you guys are right. I think these are two great games. And I think they're the 4 best teams, going into this situation, which is what you like to see. You look at the Bucs and the Packers, man. The one thing the Bucs do well is stop the run. Right. They make teams one-dimensional. The Packers have been able to be balanced on offense all year long because they've been able to run the ball with Aaron Jones. Whoever controls the run game from that aspect, I think is going to win the game. So, do the Packers run the ball on the Buccaneers? Vita Vea was activated. He had a broken ankle in week 5, but he was activated off the injured list. I thought that was really interesting. If he plays, there's no way the Packers are going to run the football. They
ran against the best D-line in the NFL.
Who?
The Rams.
Without Aaron Donald, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, you can't bring that in. Aaron Donald was hurt. Okay, they were not at their best at all. So that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I told you I was going to take you off when you ain't expected. So there you go. All right. So anyway, I'm going to pick the Buccaneers over the Packers. I really am. You know, I mean, I know Tom Brady's old and it's cold and all those things, but I'm sorry. The Packers defense doesn't scare me. And I will say this. A lot of people watch the highlights of that Packers and Rams game. The Rams had a chance when they had that fumble in the fourth quarter. They just didn't recover it. If that goes the other way, that game is totally different. And that Rams team was not impressive at all. I'm going to bring Bills back now. So
that's like the Panther team was not impressive all year. That's like calling pot the kettle black right there. Good job, Pep. Great analyst. I see why Langston Steele should flow now. I said it. I'm not playing fair no more.
All right.
Cactus Jack. He stole your whole flow.
So for the Bills and the Chiefs. Wow.
Put some respect on Pat Man's name.
No, okay. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna take the Chiefs. Okay, I'm just gonna take the Chiefs, and we're gonna end the show. So good night, everybody.
Don't you dare! You stole my man Flo. Give it back.